Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, The Bikeriders. I am pretty excited to see this. I don't know. 7.1 on IMDb, however many people rated it so far. I've heard mixed reviews, just from the guys that I follow on TikTok, or not really follow, but that pop up on my For You page. They like it. There's like, if you like 70s types movies or something like that, you might like this one. Well, and then you come here and you read, I'm reading the first one, because the second one seems more like the, you know what? Nah, the second one's too long. The synopsis on IMDb. What I don't like is when they use characters' names. You know what I mean? Like, we know who they are. So after a chance encounter, headstrong Kathy is drawn to Benny, a member of the Midwestern motorcycle club, the Vandals. As the club transforms into a dangerous underworld of violence, Benny must choose between Kathy and his loyalty to the club. Right? So I don't know. I get it. I don't know who writes them. I'm not, 15,174 people rated it. So, but in it, Jodie, Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon. Who else is in it? Norman Reedus. Of course, he's going to be in a motorcycle movie, right? Oh, Emory and Cohen is in it. That's cool. Toby, Wallace. That's just, oh, okay. So, pretty cool cast. 7.1. I'm kind of excited. An hour and 51 minutes, I want to say. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm guessing. An hour and 56 minutes. So let's see. Let's get into it. Find out what it's about. I'll give you a true synopsis. I probably will give character names, but I'll give a little bit more background instead of Betty and Kathy and Benny and Kathy and the Vandals, because we all know who they are, right? We don't even know who plays them. So stick around. I'll let you know. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of The Bikeriders, and very entertaining. Not a boring minute, I don't think. It was really cool. I kept thinking to myself, like, it totally reminds me of a biker version of Goodfellas. That's the best way to describe it. So if you like Goodfellas, you're going to like The Bikeriders. So, and it's based off of real bike riders back from, what did they say? So 73, 68, I want to say, to 1973. A photographer, this might have said it, photographer followed this gang around, the Vandals, and took pictures and then ultimately wrote a book on all of this. So this is pretty much based off of that, which is really cool. And what we were just seeing on the credits was, some actual photos that I assume that he took. I'm just assuming. But it seems like that. And it's cool to see, what I always like to see, if it's the person who played him in the movie, do they really look like him, right? And it was Tom Hardy starts a motorcycle club. And, he's got all those other people that I told you that were already in the movie. And Austin Butler is kind of his right-hand man. And Jodie plays the Kathy that we talked about, who kind of meets him and they start falling in love, all that stuff. But there's so much more going on than just that little love story there. That's just a small piece of it all. It's more about the club and how it grows and what they stand for and, the stuff that they do. And I thought it was interesting the way they depict this motorcycle club is maybe not the way other people think of a club. Like, they're all riding bikes and they all wear their colors and stuff like that, and they fight, but it wasn't about anything more than that. It was just being a club and hanging out together. In fact, they show other motorcycle clubs interacting with each other, which, like, now I think like they go against each other. I don't know, but it was kind of cool. I mean, and you hear a lot more stories about other clubs, and you'll see more about that if you decide to watch the movie, which I strongly recommend. But Austin Butler plays Tom Hardy's kind of right-hand man, the muscle, the guy who has, like, not a care in the world, doesn't care about anything. And I thought it was interesting, very little dialogue from him I picked up on. I don't think he talked much in this. And I don't think he needed to. I think his character was just perfect the way he was. I mean, she talked a lot. Betty kind of narrates the story a little bit, not in normal sense, but when she's talking to the photographer, she's sharing some of the narration with it, and flash back to all these different things. At first I was getting a little confused on the timeline because they flashed to 1973, and that's like the end, the final year of the movie in a sense, but then they keep flashing back. So I picked up on it. So if you're a little bit smarter than me, which I'm sure all of you are, you'd be able to pick up on that rather quickly. But I really enjoyed it. I thought to myself as I watched this movie, would I want to see a sequel? As much as I like the characters and I like the storyline, I don't think a sequel would work for this one. I will tell you though, a prequel could work. We don't get the details or the inner knowledge of really how it grows or how it started, right? And that would be cool to see how all of that started. That would intrigue me. So a little prequel would be a lot of fun. Recommendation out there. But this is definitely a worthwhile movie. She was great. I've never seen her before. Jodie Comer. I mean, I have. When I looked up her, and I was like, oh, she was like in The Last Duel and Star Wars, and I was like, I don't remember her. But she has this accent, and this all takes place in Chicago. So she has this accent, and the way that she talks, I thought was just, she did a great job with all of that. I think Austin Butler, I liked his character, even though he was very little dialogue. Enjoyed it. I liked all the characters. There wasn't one that I didn't like. Like Emory Cohen was almost unrecognizable, you know. But then once I got him, I was like, oh, okay. But everybody else, really, I mean, Norman Reedus, of course, Michael Shannon, they all really fit right the mold. And there was so many other people in this. I don't want to go through the list, but they, you know, I mentioned a couple of them. Boyd Holbrook, you know, and what was her? Oh, and then Knapp. You know, I've seen these people before, these actors, but they really played a great job in, you know, playing the role of 1968 to 1973 biker. So, and it was, you know, when you think about that era and the bikes that they ride and the cars around them and everything like that, that was one thing they didn't really show a lot of cold scenes, you know, because they wanted to show the bikes. But like in Chicago, I'm sure it gets cold and they can't ride their bikes all the time. But they just hung out in bars and did fun things. But this was a great story. It was cool to watch, and it really transports you back to that time. And I thought the acting was really good. So there you go. Credits are almost over. So is this review. Hopefully I was helpful. Definitely a 7 for me. Thinking about raising that up a little bit for an 8. I enjoyed it that much. There wasn't a part that I couldn't remember that I didn't like. So, alright, that's it. That's all I got. Hopefully I was helpful. Check it out. If you liked, what did I say before? The movie Goodfellas, you'll like this. Alright, biker version. Alright, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.